All right, welcome to the PricePlow podcast, powered by pre-workouts.
Welcome to PricePlow.
The whole gang is back here today, and what is today? It's September 21st or so?
September 21st.
It is, yeah.
2017. So here's the story. About a year ago, Robert suggested that we start a podcast, but at that time, I really just didn't get them, and I really wish I had, but over the last year, I have definitely gotten into them, and it's to the point now where we have enough information ourselves, and we have enough connections with a lot of interesting people that I think we could have a very unique interview style, open format podcast where we bring in different people. Now, the format I'm thinking about, by the way, this is Mike Roberto with PricePlow. I'm here with CJ Woodruff and Robert Shinetsky.
Hello.
And so what we're planning on doing is we all kind of have different expertises, different opinions, different specialties, different interests. And so rather than have the same podcast over and over and over, we are going to interview different people. And so if it's like someone like Brad Schoenfeld, and I'd like to go over the different people that we'd like to have on this cast. If it's Brad Schoenfeld, that's CJ's. But if it's like Mike McCandless, that's me, or Bruce Neller, I have a connection with, then it would be me interviewing him. And I think we can get some very, very interesting people on this channel.
Broenfeld, you're mine. Yeah. You know how I knew this was coming? Like I knew the podcast was coming eventually is because we all share like a YouTube account, like a PricePlow, and I see all the Joe Rogan suggestions just popping up constantly. I'm like, it's Mike over here.
Yeah, I got into the Joe Rogan podcast when I was doing some like kind of mindless tasks with PricePlow's admin panel, and that's where I was like, oh, this is awesome if you're like driving to work or whatever. So here we are, and we have access to maybe not Joe Rogan-esque people, but we have access to some very, very well-informed, interesting, opinionated people. So Let's take advantage of that. And of course, being that PricePlow is a price comparison and deals site for supplements and vitamins, yeah, we're going to bring in a lot of supplement company people. We're going to talk about what's going on. Like I'm going to get Mark Glazer in here, and we're going to just discuss the latest and greatest, because I know he's been working, as always, on a lot of different, shady things going on in the supplement industry and how he's protecting consumers against it. So those are the kind of things that I'm going to get into. CJ and Robert can get into different stuff, though, and so we're going to kind of take turns. This will be broadcast on our YouTube channel. I'm very happy to say that we finally hit 5,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And that's much of that thanks to CJ's total grind on this. So we're going to keep at it.
And it's been a collective, dude. Like Robert, obviously everybody's been seeing a lot of Robert on the YouTube channel. He's been a huge piece of that. But I think what's interesting is we've been doing this for 4 years now.
Yeah.
Like I look back at the YouTube. It was earlier today, and I was like, holy crap, we've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
And so it's been a grind, but like I think that now we've built up this momentum and this kind of like it's like a snowball that's been building, and now we're seeing all this momentum that's really compounding on itself, and people are paying attention. So I'm pumped about it, man.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
And unfortunately, this is one of my bro theories, and this is going to be a place where I'm going to like throw down some bro science kind of theories that I wouldn't make a whole video for instance.
Right.
One of my bro theories is that with the unfortunate passing of Rich Piana, there's a lot of minutes of YouTube that are now open. There are people that literally would spend 60 minutes a day watching Piana on YouTube.
Right.
Well, guess what? We can fill in maybe 15 of those minutes. So that's kind of like a goal. But yeah, it seems like there's an opening for a new thing on YouTube in at least the fitness and health kind of community. And I think between our different things, we can fill part of that gap.
I think in the fitness, well, first of all, when you really look at YouTube as a whole, and those people that are watching this or listening to this are probably the fitness folks that follow fitness channels. But we're a really small piece of the YouTube pie, like the fitness industry in general. And so when you look at it, the pond's already small, and like anytime there's a big disruption, whether that's the passing of Rich Piana, of course, that was a big thing. And then we've also like had some other controversy. Like we're seeing some large name folks that have gone through some controversy, and people are kind of steering away from their channels. And it seems like the whole fitness industry is kind of like searching for something new right now. And so I'm excited because, like you said, I think there's a big opportunity there for kind of some real talk around subjects, some of the emerging data and just having an honest conversation about things. So
yeah, and the fact that we're not affiliated. Now, we do have advertisers. On that note, today, what pre-workout you guys drinking? I'm going to be doing a scoop of Mesomorph, of course, because it's our first one. So I'm
gonna save mine for last because y'all are going to laugh at me.
I've got Primeval Labs EAA Max Energy Island Punch flavor.
Nice.
Ooh.
And
All right,
you?
so I've got 1 scoop of Gaspari Hypermax, or the is that
Hyper amino.
Hyper amino. So that's the energy amino. But then I also have, it's supposed to be a half scoop, but it's more like a 3/4 scoop of Mesomorph on top of that.
Oh my!
So, yeah, this is
do not do this at
mix.
home.
Do
no
not
mixing.
do this at home.
CJ's gonna be buzzing for the next
Products.
6
What flavor of
hours.
Mesomorph did you grab?
So this is the watermelon. So I actually did the gummy candy of the hyper amino, and then with the watermelon, actually it's delicious.
Actually,
honestly.
yeah, gummy candy's really good at the hyper amino. And I got snow cone, my favorite Mesomorph.
Dude, can you
So-
like with that snow cone? I thought it was delicious too, but I couldn't go through a whole tub of it. Like it got, I don't know
It's
what
too
it
sickly
was, man.
sweet
It
for
was-
me.
yeah.
I couldn't identify a flavor on it either.
It's not an everyday thing for me. So
Okay.
I mean, given that we have so much stuff here in this house that I could switch things on and off. Now I'm sorry I interrupted you and I forget what I was talking about. I was
Oh,
like,
well, so
this
basically,
is-
you were saying we're not really affiliated with anybody.
We do have advertisers, yeah, and so this we're gonna say this one is sponsored by APS Nutrition here in Gaspari Nutrition and Primeval Labs. But we do have advertisers on the site, and most people understand that. We're gonna do a better job of showing that. But the point is, on YouTube, a lot of people they start their own like brand, and then they can no longer talk about other companies as much because it's such a litigious industry. Well, with us being unaffiliated, really, with most. We're kind of free agents. We're kind of agnostic to a lot of stuff.
Right.
We can forever make a lot of content just based on around supplement reviews and ingredients because there's an unlimited amount of stuff to talk about. The issue that you see with a lot of people, let me just use Jim Stepani for instance. He had a lot of great content and everything. Obviously, I've criticized a couple of things he's done, but at the end of the day, he had great workout content. Once he started his own supplement brand, he was only talking about his own supplements. But guess what? There's only 8 supplements, 10 max in that line.
Yeah.
And so you can't talk about the same supplement over and over and over. Everyone's going to get very, very tired of it. I think we can, in terms of at least when we do a product review, we can stay away from that because there's so many unlimited flavors and products we can talk about. And everyone's always coming out with new ingredients and stuff. And there's always an endless amount of drama with some of it.
Sure.
So we can be agnostic and then slowly filter in the other content that we have. But the supplement reviews shouldn't ever get old because it's a never-ending stream of new stuff.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think that's so this kind of brings up a good point. I get this question all the time anyway, and just to be clear, guys, like I do a lot of the media stuff here at PricePlow, YouTube, social media. I have the fun job, or that's what I think anyway. But obviously, like from the business side of things, like I don't, I'm not really associated with what goes on in the inner workings of the business. That's Mike. But a lot of people ask me the question of like, what exactly is PricePlow? Because we're a price comparison engine online, but I think people are confused because they think we're a supplement company or like, are you guys
Or a
YouTube
store or something.
Yeah, or store.
Mhm.
And so I think like clarifying what PricePlow is, because there is some confusion on that. You know what I mean? Like some people are like, what the hell is PricePlow?
Right. Well, yeah, it is a price comparison and deal site for supplements, which means that we find the deals at other stores and send you to them.
Yeah.
And on top of that, though, we do a lot of the review content. And the way the business model works for the most part is that when we send you to Amazon or bodybuilding.com or sups.com, Tiger Fitness, all those, it's an affiliate. There's an affiliate link. And so PricePlow, if you buy anything on that same web browser, PricePlow gets a commission for it.
Yeah.
And so it's anywhere between, let's just say 8 and 12% is about the average and everything.
Yeah.
And so, but we don't actually have any inventory. We don't sell anything. We don't hold anything.
Yeah.
We are really like traffic brokers.
Right.
And so we send you over there. So sometimes though on our contact form, we do get emails where people are like, "Did you receive my order?" And I'm like, well, we
Yeah.
don't take orders.
Yeah.
So I need to kindly ask them, hey, well, do you know what store you went to? Or check your browser history, check your spam box, because they're looking for a receipt from wherever store it may be.
Yeah.
And so I really can't help because I don't know what you bought at Amazon. I just know that someone out there went to Amazon off of one of our kind of our campaign pages, and it's not really that detailed on a lot of these stores. And I know that someone bought, let's say, NutraBio creatine over there. And that's all I know. I don't know who it was, when, or I know like within a day. But,
Right.
And so that's kind of how it works. And that's where we get paid by the stores. We're more affiliated with the stores and just a couple select brands than we are with all of the industry.
Yeah, and what's this is kind of a funny thing, guys. Is like I feel like this always happens with YouTube, like commenters and our subscribers, that the people that interact with us. Periodically, we get people that will like say things like, well, you're biased to a company or something like that, or like, you know what I mean? Like, don't. Here's the thing. First of all, though PricePlow does make money with advertisers, right? Like, I mean,
Right.
that is a truth, and what everyone has to step back and realize. I know from a consumer standpoint, it's hard to understand. We're running a business, right? Like PricePlow is a business that has to actually pay for things, and that's how we're trying to create a living. With that being said, we're in a unique position, I think, anyway, that we can be completely raw and honest, and we don't have like we're not. There's not a single person that is tying us to saying anything on YouTube. As a matter of fact, I'll say this, like, and especially recently, Mike hasn't even been, and he's the business side of things. He knows all the legality. I don't know of a single time in the last like 6 months that Mike was like, "Don't say this on you." You know what I mean? Like we fire up a camera and we like
Yep.
just talk to it and be honest. You know what I mean? Like and I'm not personally gaining anything from like one way or the other necessarily. You know what I mean? So I think that's good to address though, because I think people feel like, well, are you tied to these supplement companies or affiliated? You know what I mean? Like, yes, we're affiliated. We have to make a living, but at the same time, like, we can be neutral, right?
Yeah, and I don't want to sound too cocky right now, but right now we don't need high tech pharmaceuticals' money. Don't need Jared Wheat's money. Things are going well. We have traffic. We're doing okay. It's great to have an advertiser who believes in the same things we believe in. I need to tell people a lot. With high tech pharmaceuticals specifically, it's very well known on the record that I am a big proponent of DMAA, and I'm very against what the FDA did to USP Labs and now high tech pharmaceuticals. I came after Jared Wheat and high tech and said, listen, I see what you're doing with the jacked up and hydroxy elite that they put out in 2014. I want to work with you. It took 6 months until they kind of got back to me, and but I came after them, and so I've talked to Jared Wheat and other people's. For instance, I talked to Jared Wheat and I said, listen, we kind of had to get after you a little bit in a review. You are an advertiser, but in the Ultimate Orange review, hey, we're half a scoop shy in that tub.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna be weighing these tubs out, and we will call you out if you're an advertiser. CJ said, this is a cool product, but it only has 100 milligrams caffeine. That wasn't our favorite one, and I understand they were trying to recreate an old beast with Ultimate Orange there, but it wasn't our favorite product from theirs. And so we're able to have semi-negative reviews, and I don't care if they're not going to advertise us next month because of a negative review. Well, then it wasn't meant to be anyway. So I want you guys to keep it raw. The only thing I say is that we're going to be disclosing a little bit more when we get free product sent our way.
Well, that's the thing. We get a lot of free products, so people automatically assume that we're going to favorably review something because we got it for free.
Dude, use VPX as an example. How much shit did we get from VPX and we negatively review the chocolate?
And you buy so much bang, you probably put those kids in college.
I mean, for all the free stuff we get, it's going to take a lot more than just sending us a free supplement to get a positive review. If one company stops sending us free stuff because we give them a negative review, there's 6 other companies that will send us something. Not to be cocky about that, but it's going to, just to enforce to you, the listeners out there and the people watching over there, it's going to take a lot more than a free product to give us you need to dose it well. It needs to hit hard. It needs to hit well and be efficaciously dosed.
Oh, yeah. I think some of the consumers that, somebody that's not in our world here at PricePlow anyway, like I could see where it's like, oh man, they sent you all these supplements. That's so cool. Like we would then like favor. And well, here's the thing. Like I've been working with PricePlow for several years now, and I got to be honest with you, I'm a little spoiled to free shit. So like free supplements are not like, Robert's going to walk in with a bag full of stuff and I'm like, okay, like, I mean, that's normal now.
I have an entire wall of supplements. An entire wall in my apartment is devoted to nothing but free products I've gotten. Some of it's probably going to expire before I ever get to it. So
I thought it was hilarious. Like Bang sent us, we had weightlifting belts, we had light up hats, we had shirts.
A backpack.
It was ridiculous. And we're like, this is a shitty flavor. Like, we're not, like, I would no way.
They tried the chocolate flavor pre-workout. I do want to try that.
The Bang Master Blaster chocolate the chocolate was good, but as a pre-workout, it's thin and it tastes like a watered-down Yoo-Hoo or a chocolate soldier or something.
When you talk about not being biased, I mean, that also with our fitness rants and things like that have been kind of a new thing that we're really getting traction with. Just give you guys an example. I mean, I've been on the phone with the VP at Primeval and like talking about new, the Mega Pre and stuff that's coming out, and we've given that a positive review. I just trashed Jerry Ward. And Jerry Ward is obviously tied in with Primeval. Now, but I think people need to understand, like, it's kind of one of those things, like, our job is to just be honest and raw and, like, give you guys the truth. Like, or that's what we're trying to do anyway. And so as much as I can appreciate Jerry for, like, what he's done, he's got 100K subscribers, you're way bigger than we are, and Primeval's great. But hey, bullshit is bullshit, and I'm just gonna like say it. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is.
And people appreciate that view. That video has already got a bunch of views and
Right.
everything. So people do appreciate that. You get some comments, and then he responded again. It's fun a little bit as long as we're not, as long as we're not getting sued and we're not like, getting stupid pissing or yelling matches. I think it's fun.
And I think we're never going to be purposefully shitty. Like that's one of the things I think. I don't want to ever come off as like a troll, like I'm just trolling on people on YouTube or something and just making content to be shitty. And I think that was even with this new Jerry already. It's been less than 24 hours, and I'm already getting some comments where people are like, it's like, oh, this troll. But basically, look, like I'm not trolling, but I am passionate about fitness. And when you say something that is not true, I'm going to weigh in on it because I think it's important for the people that follow me and that look up to me for good, positive fitness advice to address like fallacies in the industry, unfortunately, the bro science, if you will, or whatever. So, it's not me wanting to target Jerry. It's just that he happened to make a video that I saw that is a good, thing to comment on basically. And I always want to provide value. I don't want to just make a video where I'm just being shitty. I want to like give you the truth and the value and the content on how to, does that make sense? Like how to implement that, not just like, oh yeah, this guy fired up Karen, just talk shit. That's all it is.
We're not here to make a controversy from nothing. We're not going to fabricate something. If something happens that causes a reaction from us, then we'll be there. But we're not just going to go around, shit stirring everywhere.
Yeah, but sometimes there's just stuff that you have to fire up the camera to and respond. Other times though, there's been times when I'm like, oh yeah, I'd like to do a rant on something, but I wouldn't like go out of my way to get on camera. I think those kinds of rants that I've kind of developed inside are going to turn up on these podcasts a little bit, and I'm going to bring in people that kind of correlate with some of that stuff. So I think one of the cool things is that people are going to get to see a little bit more of us as you and the people that we sit down with, because what I realize is when you start listening to podcasts, you can no longer, and not that it was watchable beforehand, but now like watching an interview on CNN or Fox News, and it's like for 4 minutes, if that, they're just squawking at each other. It's like that's the dumbest thing ever when you could turn on any podcast, and then they are actually really getting into the dirt for 45 minutes to 3 hours or so. And that's when you really get to know someone and get to understand. And I think that'll be nice for some people to kind of get where you're coming from on certain things, or where Mark Glazer is coming from on something, if I bring him in, and then sometimes it takes 20 minutes to beat the door down on someone, and then finally they open up. That's kind of the idea of this podcast. And so two things I want to do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're gonna say
no. I was just gonna say, like, I know, we really didn't like the theme of this one was just kind of introduction, but I think we wanted to kind of like give backgrounds. People don't know really who we are actually. Yeah. And I was thinking about that. We did one video, like my first ever video on PricePlow, I think, was introduction to CJ.
Right.
Yeah. But even then, like, I don't think it was like a lot of background or anything.
No, yeah, you're just like sitting in the Peck Deck at Big Tech's gym.
Yeah, right.
That was pretty cool.
But yeah, I think introducing, like, let's hear everybody's background, So.
All right. Well, I'll start. My name is Mike Roberto, and I'm 35 years old, born in late 1981. And so,
does that make you a millennial?
So I'm on the cusp, and I can go on for 20 minutes about that. we'll say that I
think that's more of a mindset than a.
Yeah, and definitely I'm in the tweeners, and I could talk about my demographic because we've kind of have the pros and cons of both of them. I definitely identify way more Gen X, and so I kind of have an older soul.
Hey guys, I've been around Mike long enough to know like those special things to like get him roped into.
You know
I'm like, yeah.
You know that
till we get to the font story.
I'll save that.
Wait till we get to the font story.
Yeah, so I grew up in east side of Cleveland, Ohio, suburban life, awesome parents, the best parents you could ever have, and they're still married and everything. Great life. Played a lot of baseball growing up and really got into swimming, especially into high school. My baseball career ended in 9th grade when I ran into Settle Metal bleachers and broke my jaw here. And so I had my teeth wired shut for 6 weeks there. Oh. Yeah, so that was the end of baseball, although I did recently get a bit more into softball. But anyway, so I really took to swimming a lot and absolutely love it. And then ended up, I did pretty well in high school, but ended up playing club water polo at Ohio State. And that's where I really started learning and reading about fitness and everything. And back in swimming in high school, and it was, you gotta understand, that was the late 90s, it was carbs, 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 carbs. And that, for people who follow me a little bit, know that doesn't work for my body at all. And I'm a much better low carber. So I started, but I didn't learn that until way later. I ended up getting into getting into fitness during the water polo thing in the early 2000s. And I was looking for whey protein. I think my first protein was like Designer Whey, and then I was on Google looking for around 2002, 2003, looking for 100% whey protein from Optimum Nutrition. Going down the Google listings, trying to save $1, poor one in college. And so I was like, man, there's got to be a better way of doing this. There was Price Grabber at the time, and there still is, but they sucked with all the different flavors and sizes. It was terribly organized. So I was like, well, someone's got to make a better site. And so fast forward like 6 or 7 or whatever years it was, 5 years, I finally started developing the site in 2007. And so for all you budding entrepreneurs out there, I'd say you get an idea, just start working on it immediately. Stop being a little bitch. And so
Now we met somewhere.
2013.
No, it was 13. Okay,
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, so I started working on the site 2007, launched in 2008, version 1.0, just like this is version 1.0 of our podcast. Version 1.0 of PricePlow absolutely sucked. I didn't know what I was doing, and that's the whole point. And so I kind of started learning a few things here and there. Got sidetracked with a couple other like kind of affiliate marketing things, and did well enough that I was able. I had moved out to Hermosa Beach, California, by 2007 after I'd lived in Austin the first time around. I was doing a sales job, and my side projects were starting to take off to the point where I can quit my job in 2010. And so that went great. I had the time of my life, like 6 years on the beach. Would never trade it for the world. But it all kind of came to a crash in 2012 for a few reasons, and then I realized I need to really focus on my own brand and build PricePlow into what I meant it to be. We started working hard on that. Had a few bumps and everything, hired the wrong guy for a couple things, which hurt me really badly, and I learned a serious lesson there that I've long since forgiven myself for. But fire fast when things aren't working out. You just sometimes you gotta get rid of someone who's cost me a lot of money, and I didn't do that fast enough at that point. And so anyway, 2013. We got everything in place, relaunched the site, met CJ. We started YouTubing it on off a little bit, and that's the thing with YouTube is we got to grind on it like daily nearly.
And when we started, it was at Big Tech's gym is when we met. I was getting ready for a show or just finished the show, and I was getting ready for it. And then, but yeah, Mike just was like, yeah, so you want to review supplements? And I'm like, yeah, sure, like whatever.
Actually, I met you through my girlfriend at the time,
that's right,
Jill.
yeah. Yeah.
Who is now my
It's not
fiancé.
what you think. It's not what you think.
No, yeah.
No.
She's like, oh, you got to meet this. There's the one day she went to the gym without me, and you guys, she started talking to you or whatever. Maybe it is something.
Yeah,
No, so yeah, we started talking. I'm like, all right, we're on the same page with a lot of stuff, and it worked out. And then what I realized though is, PricePlow is a price comparison site, so it's basically a bunch of affiliate links. Google doesn't like that. And so we weren't getting any traffic from Google, but what Google does like is content. So we started blogging. I busted out a few blog posts. One of them, the one that really put us on the map was the amino acid spiking blog post. And that still gets a lot of traffic to this day. And that kind of put the blog on the map. And then we just kept going and going and going, which allowed me to hire Robert to help do a lot of that blogging as well. And things have grown ever since. And I've really been focusing on a lot of the back-end technology stuff. We're doing a lot of this stuff. And I've been lately getting into the keto diet. And so things have been going great. But yeah, there were definitely a few hurdles. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. And we have a technology that I am very, very, very proud of. And there's a lot of data behind the scenes that I have that I love, and certain brands kind of pay for some of that sales data too. So there's a lot of stuff that we do that you don't see, and that's what I've been working on lately. But we are about to enter the next phase of upgrading the actual site. So the consumers out there will be happy to hear that. And so that's my story, a little bit behind and forward. But at the end of the day, I had an idea and I took too long to do it, but I finally did do it. But it really is the content that drives things. You can't just build a site and think, no matter how good it is, people aren't just going to come magically, especially if Google hates that model. You got to have quality content. And so we did it on a blog, and now we hope to do it more on YouTube, and this is one of those pieces. So thanks for the time.
Yeah, that's sweet, man. That's cool. Like, you're talking about like the back end stuff of PricePlow, like the inner workings of it. That is something I have no interest of understanding.
It's a beast at this point.
Oh, man.
There's a lot of data. We're not even scratching the surface. We have more data than we know how to process. Like there's probably like some stats geek would go in and be like, oh my God, chocolate product of this keeps selling out. We need to like invest in chocolate or something. Like we have that data. We're just not analyzing it. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in
What's
there.
so sad is like I'm just overthinking like the title of that video. It's just like I can't even imagine.
How to optimize chocolate reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to go? Okay. All right. So my name is CJ Woodruff, and I have Man, I've been with PricePlow since 2013, as Mike had mentioned. A little bit of background on me. Um, hold on 1 second, guys. I knew this was going to be. We might have some tech issues.
Do you want me to come over and check it out?
So, hey, Mike, the computer is saying that I'm not plugged in.
Row.
I want to get.
I have a plug right down here, dude.
Hurry, because I'm only at 7%. Oh, we knew we were going to have tech issues, guys.
Version 1.0.
Are we? Yes. Okay, saved it, dude.
Yeah,
You don't have
it
to
goes from
jiggle it like you did that
7 to 0%
camera
immediately.
adapter.
Yeah, guys. I don't know whether or not I'm going to leave this in the video or not, or edit this, but yeah, that was that was going to be the first podcast
I saw
fail.
the battery thing that was half full, and I should have said something. So
I'm glad it gave me a warning. All right, guys. So okay. So again, my name's CJ Woodruff. A little bit of background on me. So I'm 32 years old. I am definitely a millennial from what I understand, 1985. So even though I'm so close,
too, but yeah.
yeah, somewhat of a cusp. But I want to say I saw something the other day. It was like 84 and up. So I was like, I'm definitely in there. Yeah, for sure. You might have
I have
missed
a
it.
theory that LeBron James is the original millennial.
Really?
But I don't want to get into that right now.
I think I'm the exact same age as LeBron.
Right. Yeah,
Which is disgusting to think of his bank account and mine.
We're gonna change that right here.
Right. So so a little bit of background on me. So I grew up in a small country town. Looking at me with tattoos and all this stuff, nobody would guess that. I grew up on a farm. I was never really into fitness. I've been somewhat athletic my entire life, but I had no interest in going to the gym or building muscle. Like I think a lot of people, there's a lot of guys out there now, like younger guys that are really into like lifting to get big. I never had that inkling, like no interest in doing that. And so just exercise wasn't really a thing. Well, I joined the Marine Corps, didn't have college money and had no idea what I was doing with my life. Ended up in the Marines, did 6 years in the Marine Corps reservist. I thought going into the reservist, I was like, oh yeah, I'll get college money. Like I'll go through basic and get, well, Hurricane Katrina hit like right when I got sent to my unit finally. So I ended up going to Hurricane Katrina for like the humanitarian relief, like immediately going there, and then turn around. I got deployed to Fallujah, Iraq, like right after that. So I ended up like almost 3 years active duty, pretty much, like just kind of thinking I was reserving it. But what was cool is over in Fallujah. That's where I found a love for the gym because they had a small base gym, and we had a really stressful time. It was 2006 and 7, and it was really like hot time over there. And we got in a lot of firefights, doing missions every day. But I would come back to the base, and I would go to the gym because it was like a stress reliever. So I didn't do it for muscle gain purposes or aesthetics. It was because it made me feel better, and so it was more of an anxiety thing. So, but I learned what's crazy is I sucked in school. I've like always been high energy. My theory is I've always been smart, but I never cared. And I started reading like fitness magazines, which then turned into textbooks and stuff. And I realized everything that I read, I would retain. Like it was the first time in my life that I could look at something and know it like that.
Nice.
And I for whatever reason, like I took that and ran with it. It's like I know what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to be a fitness professional of some kind. And so whenever I got back, like I actually moved to Austin from Waco with nothing but like a couple $1,000s in my bank account from the deployment, which I used half of it on school tuition to become a certified trainer, and the other half to like get an apartment, with my wife at the time. And so anyway, it kind of started from there. Been an entrepreneur ever since. Like with a fitness entrepreneur, built a personal training business. Built a certification school, we certify personal trainers, have a relationship with NASM, bought a gym, business partner. So it's been a kind of a crazy journey. But I like to think that I've done a little bit of everything in fitness, and so like I've kind of worked my way around, like whether that was the business side of things, that was the online stuff, it was the social media, it was the one-on-one training, boot camps, whatever. So I've kind of seen it all. But when I met Mike in 2013, it was really cool because I had actually talked with supplement sponsors and stuff before, and I've worked with different companies. And I at the time I was like a little bit of a cocky. I'm still cocky, right? But like, you weren't gonna get me like super excited about like a sponsorship or like, yo, come be featured on my channel or anything. What was cool about Mike is, he's kind of telling me about his business model, and you could feel right away from Mike, which I think is really special, and that's probably why I'm still here today. Is that it wasn't just like, hey, come promote a product. Hey, come, it wasn't like that. It was like honestly, like a real, like you could feel that there was morality behind it. There was a meaning. Like he He wanted to actually do something for a purpose, and that was important to me because I'm like, I'm not gonna go pimp. I'm not whore myself out over a pre-workout or some shit like that. You know, like I just want to be CJ and be honest, and like you know, and Mike was all about that, and still to this day is. So PricePlow has kind of been just a really cool thing that I've latched onto, and now that it's grown, like I can dive into it more. You know, I don't want to say it's completely full time yet, but like it's getting there where I'm like really, really, and even my fiance Angela told me just the other day. She's like, you know, she's like all your like I want all of your energy in PricePlow because I see your future at PricePlow.
Thanks,
like,
Angela.
Yeah,
Nice.
so and I do too. I'm really excited about it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, it's been great. One thing back to the military, I want to reference an old video that I think is pretty good. One person asked, "Oh, I think I want to join the military when I'm 24. I'm a little too old," and that was in a Redcom 1 video. We were talking about you being in the Marines, and so I had you make a video. And so for anyone out there who's interested, find our video where I asked CJ, "Are you too old to join the military?" And it's a good video. And so like if anyone has questions like that, we're happy to throw down a video like that. And it's very informative, and that was a fun one. So I love doing that kind of stuff. It's always a fun time working with you guys. And so what happened is I did recently on April 1st, I moved away, and I'm now southwest of the area and 45 minutes from the gym. So everyone's like, "What happened to Mike and CJ?"
Oh, yeah.
And so I moved away, and I'm too far from the gym to want to make that drive all the time. But we are still here, so yeah, this is the first time we've been in the same room for quite a while, so it's pretty exciting.
And I think people like it's harder for the viewers, I think, to understand like all the workings of PricePlow, but you got to kind of pull yourself out of like the day-to-day content and realize like he's an important part of this machine in a deeper way, you know. So like, you know, not to say that he doesn't want to do more videos and stuff like that, but like at the end of the day, like, you know, Mike, I don't think his future was necessarily to like be on every review. I think he's been slowly like seeing the value of investing into the deeper side of PricePlow.
Yeah, the stuff I'm working on, you'll hopefully see in 3 to 6 months. So that's kind of I'm in the future right now. But anyway, back to Robert.
Yeah, and
Glad to have you on board,
this guy,
man.
who's the third guy on board. But like, I feel like even though technically I was working with PricePlow before Robert, he totally blew me out of the water within like.
You were running like 3 businesses at that time, and we needed content, and Robert came and brought it in spades. So
my journey to PricePlow is kind of a convoluted one. Go back. I was born in 1985 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Lived in Kenner. Awesome parents. Couldn't ask for better ones. Had a younger brother and a younger sister. Grew up my whole life. Yes, Mike.
So that made me feel bad. I forgot to mention I have an older brother who gave me plenty of ass kickings too.
I didn't mention any of mine, but like,
Sorry, Nick.
it's too. I'm not even gonna go there. Too much. Too much.
All right, sorry for interrupting.
That's okay. So grew up, played baseball till I was probably 13 or 14, right around high school age.
Yeah.
Did taekwondo from the time I was 9 years old till 21 when the school closed. So I was always kind of physically active, but I kind of like CJ. I never showed any interest really in weightlifting until then. Fast forward, go to college, graduate with a degree in mechanical engineering, start engineering, oil and gas design. A note about me, everybody in my family is an engineer. So we're a whole bunch of math and science nerds. My grandpa was a chemie. My dad's a mechanical. I was a mechanical. My brother's an aerospace or rocket scientist, whatever the hell you want to call them. So I did that, graduated in 2008, started doing that, the engineering thing, and right about a year after that, my grandpa passed away from a lot of health complications. My dad's a type 2 diabetic. My grandpa had a lot of health issues and passed away from those, and that's kind of when I got the kick in the ass to start working out in some capacity. Up until this point, all I had done was martial arts, so I was looking for something, and like a lot of people, and I know CJ's going to make fun of me for this,
Oh yeah.
I started doing P90X. So jumping up and down in my living room, doing lots of push-ups and pull-ups, kicking my ass, and thought I was making some monster gains.
I do want to make this clear that I think that when people ask me what my thoughts are on P90X, I say that I think it's one of the best at-home workouts out there. Okay?
Right, and see, I would severely lack the confidence to go into any gym at that point. And the way I look back at that now was it was my gateway to working out is kind of what I do.
P90X was a gateway drug for you?
It was my gateway drug. So up until that point, I had never taken a supplement, never done anything. Maybe about a year after that, so maybe 2010, I started getting really into fitness, nutrition, and supplementation, reading and researching everything I could get my hands on. And so that's when I started to experiment with supplements, and I hopped on a few of the bodybuilding forums, started logging free products, writing reviews. And in the meantime, I'm getting more and more bored with engineering. You know, I've been at a few different engineering firms, which if you know anything about consulting engineering, it rises and falls with the oil and gas industry. So when oil prices drop, everybody has to hop new companies because there's massive layoffs everywhere.
Dude,
So
so Colby, obviously you know
Yeah.
Colby. So his wife was in the, so she actually experienced some of what you're talking
Yeah.
about, man, when they were out in Houston. That's right.
exactly. So you're constantly bombarded with all these changes, and so at this point, I'm really getting sick of looking for a new job every year and a half to 2 years. Plus, I'm starting to get really, really geeked out about nutrition and supplements and just researching everything I can. I've got a science background, so I really get geeked out over the way that stuff works inside the body. Fast forward to 2015, I'm completely burnt out on engineering at this point. I'm stressed out, not sleeping well, not enjoying everything, but loving. I stay up late at night just reading anything I get my hands on about working out and supplements. March 2015 hits, or January 2015 hits, and it is the BCS national title game between Ohio State and Oregon. PricePlow, which was a site I'd been kind of reading on and off during then, was hosting a contest that said, all right, pick this and we'll give you a free prize or something, and lose and you got to do this. Well, I picked Oregon, and Mike, being an Ohio State grad, chose Ohio State. So he says, all right, well, you go and do this. So I did whatever that was.
I think I had you set your profile picture to Ohio State.
To Ohio
maybe?
State, yeah. And I'm an LSU grad, so, beating them a few years ago in the national championship was a...
you didn't care.
Yeah. Oh, it just kind of hurt a little bit to have to do that. So I email Mike and I say, hey, how does somebody go about getting into the supplement industry? And Mike says, well, what do you do? Tell him I'm an engineer. He says, oh, I'm a former engineer that quit my job to start PricePlow. I said, wow, small world. So Mike says, hey, do you do any writing? And I say, not really, kind of, sort of. I do some reviews. Send Mike a little write-up, and he says, well, you got a good voice. You can kind of distill stuff down, take these high-level concepts and distill it down. Why don't you start doing some little articles for me week by week? So one thing leads to another. My wife gets a new job in Michigan, working for the University of Michigan up there. At that time, I didn't want to have to worry about another engineering job, and my wife said, if you can make X amount of dollars where we're not pulling from savings every month when we move, you're quitting engineering forever. I'm sick of seeing you stressed out. The day she took the job at Michigan was the day Mike's contract came in, paying me a little bit above that bottom line, which he didn't know that bottom line that I needed. I never gave him that number. I just wanted to see what happened, and sure enough, and fast forward 2.5 years later, and it's gone much better than I could have ever hoped or dreamed. I don't feel like I've worked a day in my life the past 2.5 years. And I love what I do. I'm the nerd behind PricePlow that does all the supplement research and stuff.
Awesome.
So it's
Thank
awesome.
you, Sandy.
That's
though
awesome.
Sandy really being supportive there. It's so
Yeah.
important to have
My wife
supportive
is
wives
amazing.
in your life. And
Yeah.
Both
same thing
spouses,
with-
yeah.
Yeah, wow,
How about
huh?
that? Who'd have thought?
Hey,
Hey, I'm interested in this, Robert. Okay, so
Yeah.
you actually, so I'm assuming you started following PricePlow like what, 2014 and
Yeah.
2015?
Yeah, 2014.
I'm curious, like from the outside looking in, like what did you think of PricePlow back then? Because you weren't affiliated with us. I mean, like, did you
No.
watch our videos? Did you read the stuff? Like, what was your?
I didn't even know about the YouTube portion of it. I
Oh,
wasn't
wow.
a big. I was
Ouch.
never a big.
Ouch.
Well, no, I was never a big social media person or a YouTube person. So
Yeah.
if you never see me interacting on social media, for all the listeners out there, I abhor social media with a passion. I think it's the bane of society.
when I asked Robert to post something on Instagram, I could feel the groan
Yeah.
coming from across the city.
It's okay. I love it.
Yeah,
so,
so
it's okay.
we all play. That's why
Use it on
PricePlow is
salt.
so effective. We, Mike is the tech guru. CJ is the social media guru, and I'm like the supplement nerd that gets geeked out over that stuff.
I'm
So
like
we
the
all
true
bring
millennial over here.
we
I'm like
bring
the-
all bring a unique expertise, which makes this engine, constantly keep growing over everything.
So what do you think of the write-ups though? Because I'm assuming you were reading though on the website.
Yeah, I was reading. I thought it was a really cool site for a place to go and get honest information on something that kind of said, hey, this product is well dosed. This isn't what's not. That's what originally turned me onto it and kind of fueled my desire to want to learn more about supplements. And that's the reason I jumped into this industry, is to separate the bullshit from the truth. Which products are garbage and to try to save people money on from buying, and which ones to say, hey, this is actually a good company doing right by the consumer. You should be buying their products.
I think it's awesome that Robert onboarded by getting roasted. Like that's my favorite.
That's how friendships are born.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't have put the Ohio State logo in his profile or something, and chintz on the bet, that would have lost all trust right off the bat.
Right.
So sometimes you just gotta take your medicine. But
Go
what-
back to
what
that
the-
real quick. All right, so since I don't use social media at all and I hate it that much, Mike had to come back and tell me about 8 or 9 months after that. He said, oh, you just have to put up this banner for a month or two, and I just put it and I forgot about it because I never used my personal Facebook account.
Oh, Jesus.
Mike comes back when I started working for PricePlow permanently. And he said, by the way, you could take that Ohio State banner. You only have to keep it up for like 3 weeks or something. I said,
Oh,
well, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, one of the challenges actually when we're doing content or video content is oftentimes we are excited about all this stuff because the industry's made a big change with supplements in terms of fully dosed, non-proprietary blend. You know, like full product panel and ingredient labels and
Sure,
everything.
right.
And so a lot of times we're just writing about stuff we're excited about,
Yeah.
but like. You know, once in a while I see something that I gotta trash, but we don't trash it that often.
Non-proprietary blends.
No. But yeah, but a lot of people are like, oh, you know, you guys are just shilling. It's actually like we just want to talk about the stuff that we like, but on occasion we do, and probably should once in a while, have to tear something down a little bit. And I do it once in a while, but not that often. It's funny with our YouTube reviews, we get more comments and more views on the ones that are negative than the ones that are positive, which is kind of funny. But one of the things. But a lot of times, like if I'm going to buy a product or get a product, it's most likely going to be one that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we're missing a big part of the market. At least people searching for stuff on YouTube is like a lot of the mainstream brand products that are out there that are being pushed by GNC that we don't really cover because we don't feel the need to, and we're more excited about like Primeval Labs is about to blow it out with this monster product. That's exciting. But guess what? Primeval Labs isn't getting pushed at GNC, so these kids aren't seeing the stuff and they're not searching for it because they've never heard of it. Yeah. And so one of the things that we're going to need to mix up is like I'm going to want CJ to go into a vitamin shop or a GNC once in a while, just ask the dude, yo, bro, what's hot? Well, you know, what's hot lately, and just buy it, and I'll pay him back for it. And then other things, I'm just going to once in a while. The technology, my data, I'm starting to track bestsellers on a lot of different sites. Yeah. If there's a bestseller out there that's hopped up the list that we haven't covered, I'm just going to buy the product and ship it to your house, and then you guys have fun with it, and you know. Say what you want and everything. It'll just be a regular raw review. But sometimes those popular products are popular for a reason. Other times they're popular because someone's spamming the hell out of Amazon. And if that's the case, you know, we'll call it on a bad label or something. So I want to get a little bit more into and talking about everything. But right now we're kind of just like always writing about things that we're excited about. So
sure. Yeah, and I think you know what's interesting is like I think Robert and I are like starting to hit a stride with these supplement reviews on YouTube because, and I think there's multiple components to that. Like, you know, I think it has nothing to do with necessarily like that, you know, oh, now Robert and I are doing them or something like, you know, but I think that I personally anyway, just recently in the last like 3 months or so have really like dove into the job more, like in the sense that like I started one of the things like I recently got into like, you know, film stuff, right? And when I wanted to know about tech, I would look at reviews, and I would start watching these channels that reviewed stuff, and it was really paying attention to like the depth and like things that were going into this, and I really appreciated when somebody said like, hey, this is shit. Like I hate to say, you know, can you imagine like Canon sending you $1,000 camera and you'd be like, yeah, this is terrible. You know what I mean? But like, so I think it kind of inspired me in a way, and I'm starting to develop my skill as a YouTuber, if you will, on these reviews. And I think that we've just really started hitting a stride with that, you know. And actually, Mike had the idea of weighing out the scoops and the containers and stuff, which was awesome. And I feel like that really changed a lot of like what we were doing alone. But I think you're going to see more and more depth to our reviews. So I think there will be more products, like different diverse products, you know, mainstream stuff, but also like the quality and the depth of what we go into, you know. Like one thing I was thinking about, we don't really show like product labels and stuff very often. I think people sometimes are funny about that. Like they want to actually see the product itself more, you know what I mean? So kind of getting up close shots and things and trying to pay attention to the labeling and whatnot.
Yeah. Right. The video editing is definitely a challenge, but people have kind of noticed, and they'll call you out if it was filmed on a potato. You're going to hear about it from YouTube Nation out there. So people definitely appreciate it. I forgot what I was going to say, so back to you.
I don't know. And you know, one thing I gotta give Robert props to. Robert's talking about not being like a social media guy or whatever. Like, and I'm just gonna be real. Somebody asked me the other day. They were like, "Oh, actually, no. It was on that video. It was Robert's idea for me and Emily. Well, it was actually he asked me to do a video rant where it was about how to have confidence or whatever in the gym, right? And so, and that kind of ties into like marketing yourself and doing these videos because it's like I gotta just be able to like turn on the camera and be like, hey, like it's me, like and be
Right.
confident about it. And that's something that I think that Robert has struggled with in the past, like just not wanting to be the face of.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Go back to see the first time I was ever on camera with y'all was probably when I moved down here in October, and it's totally 100% team awkward is all me.
Yeah, well, it started with you just in the background a little bit, working on the laptop.
Yeah.
And eventually got worked in.
And y'all
a little
eventually
bit.
pulled me
Yell
to the door.
Robert, what's the ingredient for? Okay. Yeah, but well, it's crazy to watch his transformation though on these videos. I mean, he has developed a personality and a confidence persona, and like it's amazing to watch that. And I'm just being real, just like on that video. I've just my entire life has been just that way. Like I was like born into this world or like okay with being on camera, right?
Yeah.
And that's not me being cocky. I'm just saying like that's just always been my personality. But it's interesting to me to see somebody that has struggled with that side of themselves and then developed it and really grown into it.
Because
It's
yeah,
awesome.
I've never asked or told Robert to get on camera. Like if you don't want to do it, don't do it. We're here to blog and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's been great. But yeah, so with my evolution of the reviews, like getting back to the Canon camera review,
Right.
you have to give a legitimate, honest review because if the quality looks like crap on the YouTube, people will know. You know, these people
Sure.
are camera experts, so the details are right there for you. It's a little bit tougher to review certain like stimulant-based pre-workout supplements. Yeah, it got me pumped up. I'm fired up, happy. And then taste is subjective, but typically, people agree upon taste. Where I'm starting to go with myself personally is that I need something more when I'm going to review something, and the whole keto supplement experiment has been good because I could test blood work.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I want to take things myself is with more blood test numbers and everything, whether it's just like ketones or blood sugar in my blood, or like, doing testosterone tests or IGF-1 tests for a certain new high-tech product, or basically anything that we can blood test would be very cool. A lot of people want you to do a bunch of glucose disposal agents, but without having you pricking your finger and doing the blood test, how do you know anything? So that's where I want to take some of the reviews that can be objectively reviewed, at least like an experiment of one. I'm never going to claim this will work for everyone. I got to claim, okay, this didn't work for me, but that's kind of where I want to take some of my stuff at least.
That's what makes, he's absolutely right. That's what makes this stuff tough, guys. Because you guys know by watching some of my rants and stuff, I like to be as objective as possible. So when it comes to, fitness data or whatever, like I try my best to have, like, I want to look at the peer reviewed stuff first. I want to build my concepts around stuff that is more proven or been tried and true and gone through a scientific method. With that being said, both fitness and here with supplements, there is a real just anecdotal experience that we have to throw in there. And like, it is tough. It's like, especially with like a BCAA as an example, right?
It's highly subjective, the taste of it. Yeah.
Right. We're talking about the taste typically, and we'll have him break down the profile, which obviously we can look at data there. But outside of that, what are we gonna say? Like, oh yeah, I feel better. You know what I mean? And I almost hate, like, even with the pre-workouts.
Yeah.
I kind of actually hate that part of our reviews, if I'm being honest with you guys. When at the end where it's like, yeah, man, I mean, I felt really jacked up and like I didn't really crash. And I know it's important, but I also don't want people to necessarily like have to tie themselves to just me only, saying like that was CJ's experience with it. But I can't say that that's going to be your experience.
Right.
I'm always honest with it, but it is what it is. It's like,
yeah. And I think that's the problem. Everybody's biochemistry is a little bit different. So 300 milligrams of caffeine is going to hit you different than it's going to hit some 120 pound
it's like imagine if I told like Mike, hey Mike, eat like I do to look like me or whatever. Like it's not, you know what I mean? Or any of us. Like we're all kind of somewhat unique in that sense, right?
Right.
Absolutely. And I've always wanted you guys to do at least a few runs on a pre-workout. Like if it's a teaser and they send you a baggie, then that's one thing.
Which we have been doing a better job of.
Trying
to.
Yeah, but yeah, if you're seeing someone come out with like 10 pre-workout reviews in the same week and it's filmed in the same week, then there's a problem. Like, to properly review something, you do need to give it a few shots. Unless it's just a taste-based review, which I used to be against, but people love the taste-based reviews. So, we post it up, and if you don't want to watch it, you see the title, then you don't have to watch it. So, So moving on to talking about this podcast, who are some people that you want to have on it? Now, the idea is that once a month, I think we're going to get together and do a roundtable. What's been up last month? Who's doing what? What's Jerry Ward said this month? Whatever. And then we're going to take turns, though, for the other 3 weeks in the month or whatever. Take turns interviewing, whether it's in person or on Skype, someone of your choosing. So, like, who are some people you'd like to interview?
Ooh, put me on the spot like that. You know, obviously, I like a lot of the more progressive guys in the fitness industry with the educated, like the academics. I would love to be able to have a conversation with Eric Helms. And man, I feel like Eric Helms, like it's funny that you got that group of guys, you got the Aragon and Schoenfeld and Helms and these guys, but Helms is actually, I feel like one of the more quiet ones. Like I don't see as much of him, but he's a genius, man. Like, and they just recently put together like an academy. They have like some sort of like an online, like a personal training type academy or whatever online. That I'm super interested in seeing what that is. So anyway, he'd be one of them. Of course, Schoenfeld. I would love Lane Norton because he's both controversial and the educated side of things, and I both agree with him on a lot of things, but I also disagree with him. He's a little more emotional, which I kind of like. It'd be fun to have a conversation with him.
So how's your style going to be if you're talking with Lane and he says something you just disagree with? Are you going to kind of argue with him, or are you going to let him be the interviewee? Because I'm going to let it be all whatever you want. Like,
you know, and that's a really important, like, I'll tell you guys, man, when we first started doing just reviews, not even interviewing people, internally, this is just natural. This is human nature. But like, there's that kind of like fear a little bit of like, you know, I'm talking about somebody's thing or I'm going against somebody's opinion or whatever. And like, I was a little hesitant, but that is completely gone now, all right? And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, like we were walking around the Arnold, you know, as an example, like I had no problem like walking up to freaking whoever and saying whatever, you know? So that would be like, if I was talking to Lane, I would. I mean, if he said something that I disagreed with, I'd probably be the first, and I will always tactfully do it, but I will be very blatant in the fact that like, well, I disagree with that, like, you know, and then see what his rebuttal is. I try to keep myself honest and blunt, but at the same time open-minded to what, you know, you can change my mind, and I want to make sure that I'm humble enough to change my mind. But if somebody wants to get in an emotional, like if you want to say something that's wrong and then get in an emotional back and forth, I'm just gonna keep playing into that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like I'm not gonna let you win on something that's not true. You know what I mean? Especially we know that.
Yeah.
Win.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. Like in a debate, I think a lot of people do that. Like they're scared to challenge. You know
authority
that.
figures.
Actually, I don't know if we'll keep this in the podcast or not, but there was a moment actually at the Arnold where this scenario happened. That you're talking about, and Mike was involved in this scenario. I was filming, and like I said, you might want to cut this out. I don't know.
Someone made a mistake about the word.
No, so we were interviewing the guys from NutriKey, and you asked about carnitine.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
And
did it ever get posted?
We never posted the video, but it was one of those moments where the information, unfortunately, was not correct. What was being like told to Mike, and Mike's sitting there, but it's weird. We've got a table full of these guys, and they're amazing guys, and we actually love a ton of their stuff. But unfortunately, what Lex was saying was just not true. And it was so it's like this awkward moment of like,
you said I rolled my eyes or something like that.
You just had, well, I don't think you rolled your eyes, but you had this look on your face, just like, I can't believe, you know what I mean? Like it was just this disbelief of like, do we post this? Do I just stop him? Like, cause I think we let him finish, and I don't think you tried to like get corrected, because it's like, what, we're about to start this like argument at the table.
Yeah, it's like loud at lunch, and everyone's like, at those, the problem with those expos is that everyone's packed for time. It's like, man, we're gonna get a 30-minute argument about carnitine, but maybe we should have.
Lex is a great guy. He's very like, you know, he's a loud personality. Like he's gonna be, you know, and so he's definitely one that was gonna probably just keep it going for, like, you probably would have just been in a, I didn't see him like accepting the information that you were gonna give him if you would have, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm just speaking out loud, but
Good question. Anyone else? You like anything out of left field too? I mean, like, this doesn't need to be a fitness thing or anything. Like, if you have a passion about, you know, you want to bring JP on, or if you someone makes a favorite hat, I don't care.
Yeah, I definitely have some friends of mine that are really amazing fitness professionals here locally, and folks involved in this industry that I would love to be able to talk to. And I think I have some friends, like you guys have seen Alex and Beth on the channel, and Dylan and Missy, and some people that we've had on the channel. And some of these people are really, really gifted, special individuals that I think are a little underappreciated. Like people just don't know necessarily who they are to a large extent, but I think that they could be something, you know. And so I really do want to get those people some exposure and work with them, you know, and talk with them more. I will say one guy that is growing on YouTube right now, who I've been direct messaging with a lot, and I've actually had plans to fly out and actually do videos with him, is Alan Roberts, and his channel's Every Damn Day Fitness. And so he started this channel just by like, I think he was just irritated about like certain like people and stuff in the industry, and he just started making these kind of like rant videos, and I think he calls them roast videos, but like he just basically like tell it how it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he grew, and I mean now he's at like probably 18,000 subscribers, and he's like, even I think he's writing a book that's like his first year on YouTube or something that he's working. So I really want to like talk with him, whether that's Skype or going out. I'd really like to go get a workout with him. He's doing some intermittent fasting stuff now, and like kind of lost like 30 pounds or something recently. And so anyway, he's an interesting dude. So, and he works, I think him and Mark work together on the Real Weights for Real Heroes event.
Low bliner?
Yeah,
Cool.
because he was like negative. Dude, Alan was like, would trash Low Bliner. Like, I mean, just shit. I think, what do you call it? He calls him Scrappy, right? And he just trash Scrappy. But it was interesting because they were able to still like come together and kind of like have somewhat of a mutual respect, but Alan's still like, you know, yeah, like, I mean, I respect this guy, and like, I can interact with this guy, and we'll do these things. If he says some dumb shit, I'm still going to talk about it. You know what I mean? And so it was really cool, and I think I really respect that about Alan, you know what I mean? And Low Bliner's, I think, a lot that way as well. He's very, he definitely doesn't give a piss. He'll say whatever, for sure, so. Which, of course, we got to interview Low Bliner.
Of
Yeah,
course,
we got to get him.
No, the question is, who interviews Low Bliner? Maybe it would be a tag team, but
yeah, well, that's your
all of
homeboy.
us have
he's
dealt
kind of
with him,
but you might be able to have a better conversation with him if we're going to talk fitness stuff. See, like for me, you put me in a room of fitness dudes. I don't know. I can't really. I can't talk the talk as much. You put me in a room full of bodybuilders, still can't talk the talk as much. You put me in the room with CEOs,
right? And
I fit in. And, you know, and so like if we're
I
talking about Mark Lobliner, the CEO,
I interview Mark Lobliner. You interview CEO of MTS Nutrition.
Yeah, exactly. So it depends on like what we're trying to get out, or like what mood he's in, or whatever. But that's just a question.
I think one of my jobs here at PricePlow that a lot of people may not know is like so obviously I'm connected to all the PricePlow like social media pages and stuff, and this is something I already like doing. I just had to just shift my energy under the PricePlow brand, really. But like I subscribe to all these channels, and I keep up with what's going on with these people. So I know, you know, keeping up with the Kardashians, like I'm all like basically what the drama is currently, and that's something I think that both Mike and Robert aren't quite as keen on, or really probably don't care as much to get involved in, which is fine, you know. But yeah, I think like if I were talking to a Low Bliner, I have like, you know, like you just did this video 2 days ago and this thing happened or whatever, and Mike's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I would have to do research and everything. That's true. All right. So for Robert, we got to do John Meadows.
Yeah, I would. My
the mountain dog.
He loves them.
My area.
That thumbnail with the hearts in it.
I still think about that.
I like to get the formulators behind the supplements. I handle a lot of the B2B interactions here at PricePlow. So all the stuff that goes as far as getting products on PricePlow, getting new products listed, what brands are kind of emerging. I've made a lot of contacts with them, so I would like to get either some of the formulators on there, the CSOs, the Chief Science Officers. I just did a really great interview with PJ Braun over at Blackstone at the Olympia, which was really cool, so maybe get him on here at some point.
Yeah, and we'll have that video up. I would say within the next day or so.
Well, then it'll be up before this is up, so.
For sure, yeah.
And maybe even some people from like the ingredient mega houses that are doing some of the cutting edge stuff like Compound Solutions, get some of their science guys on there.
Dr. Lopez, I don't know if he likes to stay behind the scenes, so.
Right, but any of them would be fantastic because I'm about the formulations, the ingredients, and the nerdy stuff like that. So
I don't think a lot of people realize is that Robert is he really is he's deep into the relationships of the business on certain levels, and like if I need to get a hold of somebody from whatever company, somebody high up or whatever, I can text Robert and he probably has like an email or something typically, you know.
Right.
So I don't think a lot of people know like how much interaction you actually he's connected, bro. He's connected.
And with all of that, like going back to the negative reviews, we have some very close relationships with companies. We've worked a lot with them. We've written about a lot of their products. not a single one of them has ever turned back on from working with us after a negative review because High Tech, like Mike said, is one of the big sponsors for the site. We've trashed their flavoring before on several things, and they still keep willing to work with us because even the companies will say, "Hey, we appreciate what you're doing for the industry. We appreciate the honesty."
Look
so
at
keep
look at
doing
Muscle
it."
Tech, right?
So-
Didn't that just happen in Muscle Tech? You're like, yeah, just hey,
Yeah.
keep
Yeah, you
going.
guys crapped on their protein bars, even though I thought it was bigger bar, more
Yeah.
mass and
Yeah.
everything.
Which
But no,
that
you
was
guys-
a solid point.
It is.
No,
And
but
that's
you-
the exact
it
same thing
was-
Sandy thought, but coming at it from a
A quality
coaching
assurance.
standpoint. Well, yeah, and a coaching standpoint. If
Right.
somebody's diet prepping for a show and they can't lose weight,
One of the most frustrating things as a coach, people don't understand how much experience in just like when I say coaching, like think of that word coaching, like it's literally watching day-to-day things and trying to keep up with trends to make micro adjustments with diets and training to get them going in the right direction.
right.
And I don't know how frustrating it is. I got a client that's like stalled out for whatever reason, and I'm trying to like figure out everything. And it turns out that they're eating 2 servings instead of 1 or something. And I know that sounds very minute, but when we're talking about like bodybuilders and stuff, and like Emily right now, who I've been coaching through this thing. I mean, she's 2 days out from a show. Everything fucking matters.
Yeah.
Everything.
You can't have a protein bar be
Right.
10% overweight or
Oh,
whatever
dude,
those
yeah.
bars were.
It turns into a big deal.
Well, yeah.
And so
we gave it to Muscle Tech, and then I'm at the Olympia. We're at the bar, and I get stolen away from one meeting because Muscle Tech wants to talk to me about technology and all this stuff that
Yeah.
they want to work with us on. They're like, we don't care. Like, give it to us raw, And I think a lot of the brands just like the attention and the noise and everything. But
Right.
obviously, it's better for them when it's a good review. But it's almost like a mediocre review that has a few good things for them is better than no review.
Correct.
At all.
Well, and I almost feel bad for Robert and Mike more honestly, because like what I get to kind of like, even though I'm in the spotlight at PricePlow, I'm also behind the scenes at the same time. Like I don't actually have to interact with these companies necessarily. You know what I mean? Even so, like I can be a face on the camera or on the Instagram story or whatever, but like I'm not necessarily talking to CEO XYZ or scientist whatever. So when I get to review them and I'm like, yeah, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But
don't know.
Robert's the one that has to talk to the guy, or you're
Right.
the one that has to
Yeah.
talk to the
Email
guy.
the
Yeah.
next day say, "Hey, thanks for sending that stuff. Here's our review. Sorry."
Well,
about
and
that."
it's like recently we did a promo video for Primeval when it was the first Mega Prix, I think. Like we did a short, like a 60-second teaser or whatever. And I was drinking out of a cup that had a Redcon sticker on it, and we had feedback. They were like, "Hey, I need you to cut out that Redcon sticker," and my answer was no.
No, I didn't
You know what I mean?
notice,
Like,
really.
yeah, well, right.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like no,
Send
because
us a cup then.
yeah, and that's what I said. I think
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, yeah, send me some stickers. But the reality of it is like we're not. I'm not necessarily on Primeval. Like I'm creating an ad for a review to have an honest review. I'm gonna wear like the shirt. If I'm wearing another supplement company shirt or whatever, like I'm sorry, but like we're not tied to one or the other, and we want to keep it real like that. If I start censoring stickers on cups, what does that say about me as a reviewer on YouTube? You know what I mean?
That happened. Wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, and it wasn't a big deal. Like
No,
they
but
were
it's-
cool with it immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like I was like, fuck that, no.
Yeah.
Not like
Well,
no.
I think the word agnostic is the best way to go with it and everything. I keep just having brain freezes because you guys are having such good conversation and everything. I'm really happy with. I just love that. Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
CJ. That's incredible.
No, go with the brand interactions. I mean, I've had some people say, "Hey, your taste buds are broke. How could you like this flavor over the other one?" This is coming from the company side. I said, "Well, that's the subjective nature that supplement testing is. Sometimes I happen to like certain flavors more. I can't stand blue raspberry. Companies out there listening,
So
if
we've
you
got
send me a
two
blue raz, I'm probably gonna trash the flavor just because I don't like it.
Yeah, and you've got a third percent of a chance that you're actually going to get a positive review
Yeah.
because he's allergic to it and he hates it.
Yeah, well,
So
I'm
now
drinking
we're
it
like,
though, like
yeah.
the blue #1. So I've gotten better with it.
Keto
but
has fortified Mike's immune system.
It's interesting, but
Yeah.
no, you guys have done great. So I definitely had to push off a lot of that brand interaction with Robert because I noticed that my time was getting drained in an email, and I was not able to move the ball forward. Like I've been working on setting up forums for a year now, and so I wasted a lot of time, and I don't regret it. But we were working on the wrong technology, and so scrap that. But the thing is, like emails coming in from all these guys. Oh, do a review on this, or like let's blah blah, like a new ingredient for you to analyze and stuff. The email interaction was crushing my day. So sometimes I just need to close the inbox. 9 to 11 a.m. I just like to crush work, and so that's definitely helped having Robert handle that, it's definitely helped a lot, and it gives him access to people that are really interesting, and so there's certain people that I still interact with a lot, and then a lot of them they know that Robert's the easiest way to get a response on email sometimes, but I'm available when things go crazy, but typically you've had it handled and everything.
Yeah,
so
unless it's a tech specific thing that I can't answer, and I've started to learn a little bit of that, but if it's hardcore tech stuff and coding things or stores aren't lining up right with our technology, then that's when I call in the big guns.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm trying to do like most of the. I'm really knock on wood because it's gonna get to the point where it's not gonna like it's unrealistic. But right now I'm like responding to every comment, message, anything. You know what I mean? So if you typically on most platforms, if you send us something, whatever, I'm gonna say something back. Now again, like eventually it's probably gonna get out of control. But my thought process anyway is like, hey, these guys got like a bunch of important things going on. Like I want to make sure that I'm taking as much weight off of them as possible. You know what I mean? Whether that's the video editing, the commenting back, whatever. Social media shouldn't have to be the focus. You know?
That's appreciated.
Yeah.
And so for me, this podcast, since I've been getting into podcasts a lot, and a lot of people know that I am keto dieting now, I'm going to be kind of taking a few left turns in my interviewees, but we're definitely going to have to get Jared Weed on this thing. And I don't know when, but at some point I'm going to go out to Atlanta, do the plant tour, and I want to sit down with him for an hour and really just beat it out of him.
After watching his review with you, so I'd never actually like seen or heard Jared. Well, I've seen pictures, but I'd never actually like seen him talking and stuff. But I didn't realize he was so. He's got such a bold personality, so I'm like, I feel like that would be an excited guy to like. He might say some shit, you know what I mean? Like it's pretty.
One of the things I was telling Robert is that we've had some fantastic conference calls with CEOs. Dan at Ghost and I'm like, awesome. Dude, that phone call itself that we had, like it was maybe a year ago or whatever. We had a phone call with Dan, and that would have made the most epic podcast ever. And we're just talking about industry, and what Dan's doing at Ghost is completely different than what other brands are doing. His opinions are highly valued. So
I think he's amazing. Like honestly, what Ghost is doing to me is one of the most innovative like business moves that we've seen in a lot. I don't think that people appreciate the depth of branding and what's going on at Ghost. You know,
he doesn't. Yeah, and so we talked again at the Olympia, but we didn't turn into podcast. I think he's gonna fly out here, and maybe we're gonna all get together. It'll be a good one. But yeah, he's doing stuff. But anytime we have one of these great phone calls like that, then that's where I'm thinking, oh, that would be a great podcast. So I'm gonna get back some of those guys. The guy at Intel Pharma at some point. That's an interesting story. He was involved with Holly Holm when there was his old company got busted. It was pretty interesting. Good stories to come. And then I've always dealt with Jared. I've already mentioned Jared Wheat, Aaron Singerman. We've had an interview with him before. We're gonna have to occasionally catch up with him.
Just posted another one. So we just got that one up. And which was really good. You got quite a bit of views, man. A lot of attention on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Video, so, And then Mark Glazier, of course. So like I've mentioned it before. So in November of 2016, I went to the NutraBio headquarters, did a plant tour. We filmed about like 11 or 12 videos, but they're on their camera. I ask him all the time, get me that video content, because we had a couple conversations that were awesome for being like supplement industry.
Mark, Dropbox me, man, please.
And so there's a couple really good ones. There's one where we bust out a bottle of tequila. We don't drink it, but we show why the supplement industry needs to follow the tequila industry. And I'd like to preview that video, but he's killing me. He's holding the videos hostage, and so I'm gonna get him on this podcast, and we're just gonna sit down. If I could break him out for an hour and let him change subjects, because I was trying to like compartmentalize our videos a little bit that time, and they'll be good videos if I ever get them. Just let him tear for like 90 minutes. I think it would be a great time.
Hell yeah! And so I want to get Mark Glazier on the YouTube channel, but because I want to spar with him.
Oh
yeah. Now I know nothing about martial arts whatsoever, but I just think it'd be awesome.
Champion,
and I want to put on like a belt and everything.
I'll get you set up. I'll start training you on the side. You train me in weightlifting, and I'll train you in Taekwondo, and y'all can go at it.
Does everyone out there want to see me spar Mark Glazier?
Man, he was like a champion back in the 80s and 90s, and back when he was running his schools, he was actually
him and Chuck Norris.
Yeah, but he was actually doing boxing and grappling before like the mixed martial arts was a thing. He wasn't just doing karate; he was a karate champion. But he was bringing in some of the street fighting kind of stuff, and people thought he was crazy. Now look, UFC's worth $8 bajillion. Exactly. So he's always been ahead of the curve. I love talking to people like that. But on the side, and so a person that I've been dealing with a lot is Sean Wells, who used to be a formulator at Dymatize. And you can follow him. His moniker, like on Twitter and all the Instagram and all that, is Zone Halo. And so he's big into the keto diet. He's big into biohacking. And so like kind of what I've been doing is a little bit of biohacking where I try one ingredient at a time, see how it responds. Well, with him, I want to do a little bit something out of left field though. I want to talk about he's into LSD microdosing. And so
What the heck?
yeah, you got to read
Serious?
about this stuff. If you take micro doses of LSD,
Yeah.
you get like in a perfect little zone. You don't get high or anything.
Holy
You just
shit.
get into this like
So they well back in the
I don't know much
day,
about
back
it,
in the day, there were like I mean I don't know what 50s, 60s, whatever. When they were like researching with and they some amazing things that they found with like LSD, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
there was like crazy brain activity.
I
and,
think
like,
it'd be cool to
next
talk about
level
that
shit.
stuff, and hopefully, there's a lot of other YouTube videos out there on it. But it would be cool to hear someone that I talk to about it, and hopefully
On the
not
next
get kicked off of
podcast,
YouTube.
we're all on LSD. And we'll-
Mixing DNA with LSD. Let's see what
Oh,
happens.
God.
And so some of my personal passions. I'm a big maniac for clean water and water filtration. So I might get some people that go down that rabbit hole a little bit. And so I bought a nice water filter for the house. I am going to be paying for lab tests. I'm going to get them tested out. We're going to see how well this certain water filter works, and that'll be my review. Like, yeah, it tastes better or whatever. That's a very subjective review. It's the lab tests that are actually going to be the review.
I can help you out with there if you want. I don't know if it's worth the podcast or not. So my dad was I was actually adopted originally. I was adopted in the name Woodruff, but so he's my adopted father, but I've always known him as father on paper. Grew up with him, but he's been in water his entire life. Currently works for GE. He's a water expert actually.
Cool.
So if you wanted just to talk to a water pro,
we probably spend the whole time talking about you, but yeah,
there you go.
So that's some of the sideways stuff that I'm interested on top of the keto stuff, and
nice.
What,
so
what do you think about the Brita filters? Are those worthwhile or not?
I mean, it's better than nothing, but no.
Is that the thing you put on? I have something like my fiance. I don't care about my water.
Well, that's
just that
it's expensive.
if you guys don't know about this, like I'm the anti-hippie. No, it's just I've just never I don't know. Maybe I'm just not. My brain doesn't wrap around some of those kind of details. I'm like I assume it's safe, and but we have a filter on my tap at home, but it's because of my fiance.
Right.
So she put something I don't know. Like I think half the time you flip it and it's like filtered and not. Half the time I don't even flip it because I don't. I don't even think about it. I don't care.
Yeah, we just drink out the tap at our house. So that's
Really?
why I'm curious about the Brita filter stuff.
Maybe that's why your eyes are so big.
Might be.
People have been asking
that's
about
number one
Robert's
comment.
eyes. That's one of our number one comments. We're making a video that's going to be addressing Robert's eyes that you will see on YouTube.
We'll make a 20-minute expose on my eyeballs.
Yeah.
See what happens.
So let me. All right. So I think maybe a good way to wrap it up, Mike. I don't know, but can we just tell people what we'll go around what can we expect for the future of PricePlow, coming over the next, let's say 6 months to a year. What are the big things in each department here do you think that people can expect?
Okay, we're obviously going to continue attacking YouTube. This is part of that.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get the discussion forums out. It's time to build our own community. We were kicked off of Instagram one time, and I realized we can't allow Facebook and Google to own our entire community. So forums.priceplow.com will come.
Do we know what happened on Instagram?
No, but I guess it was after one of the posts about pro hormones. So I'm guessing.
But it's not it wasn't that controversial. It's not like you didn't put anything that controversial.
I might have hashtag steroid. I don't know.
But even then, it should people hashtag. So that's great. Honestly, one of my biggest fears, guys, is we do all this work on YouTube and it crashes. Yeah. And it's hey, welcome to square one. I'm like, what the fuck?
And so, one of the things, obviously, we've had our things to say about the FDA. I'd like to stay away from politics on this channel. I'll see how long that lasts. But I'd like to stay away from it because that's where YouTube is doing its censorship. Let's not kid around. YouTube is clearly pushing an agenda right now, and it's their network. It's their business. Yeah. I prefer that we stay with anything related to the health. Of our followers. Well, that's kind of my opinion.
Knock on wood, though, so the demonetization and censorship of YouTube has been a big topic. Again, knock on wood, we're not censored by any means necessarily when we make our videos. We're not, F this, F that constantly either. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we drop F-bombs periodically. We talk about I put a weed leaf on a freaking little baggie on a but we have yet to, maybe 4 or 5 videos have been quote unquote demonetized. But for the most part, we're actually whatever we're doing, YouTube seems to be okay with. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think You know,
Right.
again, knock on wood.
Fingers
Like maybe we're
crossed.
flying under radar, but I don't know. But
Yeah, the last video to get demonetized was the interview with Jared Weed at the Olympia. DMAA
oh, I didn't
might
see
win.
that.
If you see it, yeah, I think DMAA might be a
You got the
keyword.
little it's like the little yellow dollar
Yeah,
sign or
and you
something.
can request a review. I don't want to like draw any attention, so whatever. It's
I request a review of I think it was the Rich Piana one, and I think we got the green back.
nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
seriously. And I honestly, I didn't even know how that button worked. Like I just saw it and I clicked on it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna request. You know, just
Mhm.
clicked it and I was like, all right, let's see
Yeah.
what happens.
Cool.
And then yeah, other than that, we're going to be adding more products. There's a couple, just new stuff that's come out of a lot of the nice stores that we haven't really added, and so that's going to happen. Things are getting more and more organized behind the scenes, so excited about that. And then eventually, one of the next projects is we're going to start adding in more attributes. Whereas right now the ingredient labels are not on all products, and that's not going to change, for instance. But if let's say a supplement is real basic, 500 milligram agmatine capsule. Right now, the system doesn't know that that's a 500 milligram agmatine capsule. It's just some product for some brand.
Right.
I want to tie in all of those products and start getting more high-level attributes so that I can sort by what product is going to get me the most agmatine per dollar. We don't have advanced sorting in it
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think we'd have a little bit more power, and then we'd possibly even be able to create, and this is way further down the line, create your own pre-workout based upon the raw materials. Like I want this
Oh,
much,
wow.
this much, this
Yeah.
much, and what 3 products are going to get me that cheapest.
Yeah.
And so that would be a cool thing
That's
to put
awesome.
together. But right now we need to lay the data foundation, and we don't
Yeah.
have that. And so that's some of the behind the scenes stuff that I dork around with.
And we talked about doing, and maybe there's already a couple of them on there or something, but we talked about having like more stacks, right? Like
Yeah,
having
we have a stack section that
Yeah.
doesn't get used all that often. So
right.
and then and I guess one question I'm probably going to ask a lot of the users, maybe you guys can chime in, but Muscle Tech, what they wanted when they pulled me away at the Olympia was they would like us to be able to do, right now the system can do buy one, get one free, buy X, get Y free. Like buy one, get one free, buy one, get one 50% off. Those deals are in, we have special pages for those on our deals page.
Okay.
Right now, the system does not recognize buy Mesomorph, get the APS creatine for free. So
Okay.
buy X, get some completely different product Y free, and do some math calculations to decide, is that worth being on the deals page?
Yeah.
Muscle Tech wants us to do that because then they have all kinds of promos like that. He mentioned like buy 5 pounds of Nitrotech, get 2 pounds of Cell Tech for free. Is that a hot deal? I don't know. The math can dictate that, but right now PricePlow cannot figure that out. And is it worth my time? I don't know.
It makes sense. Yeah. Every time I go to the grocery store, I end up with crap in the basket because my fiance gets those damn like things. Well, we bought the tortillas, so now we got to go get the the butter or whatever. Like it's for free. So and like as a guy, I don't even see that stuff. So it's like.
But honestly, I'm not, unless everyone hollers in the comments. If you're still out there listening, it's I would love that feature. That one's not as high up on my list.
Yeah.
And so first things first. Forums. I got to get a community going. We got some awesome followers, but Facebook owns our community. Like, that's kind of unacceptable to me. And YouTube at this point, we have some good YouTube commenters.
Yeah.
Right.
In case that ever go away, I want to get the forums going. So, but every time you see me doing stuff like this, I'm not working on that. And I'm really the main tech gun on the forum stuff thing. So,
Robert,
that's it.
What's new in the Roberts department?
We're gonna start getting super heavy into nootropics. We kind of kicked that ball off about 3 months ago. It's kind of our nootropics Friday is what is people started.
Dude, you know what sold me? When we first started talking about nootropics, or nootropics, whatever.
Yeah.
So when it was like talking like a couple of years ago or something. Like when I first had these conversations.
Yeah.
In CJ's brain, I don't even know if I ever voiced this. I was like, oh yeah, here's some like hippie stems that don't really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some root extract or something. But some of the products like Azoth, actually, like I think I'm converted, and I'm like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah,
like, and it kind of shocked me.
Yeah, and a lot of these are non-stimulant ways to enhance brain function, alertness, focus, things like that. And I think as the FDA starts getting more and more fierce with their enforcement of all these exotic stems that we really like and a lot of our listeners really like, nootropics are kind of that next wave. Once all the fancy supplements go away and we can only have caffeine in our pre-workouts, nootropics are going to be the next frontier. And I've always enjoyed it just because I'm a brainiac, and I like to see how much further I can push my neurological potential.
Yeah.
Some people want steroids. We want steroids for the brain.
Dude,
Yes.
and
Without going prescription.
Brain
grade.
gains.
I was listening to your family history too, and when we talk about genetics, like brain,
Yeah.
like knowledge is it's really there's a big genetic component to it. It's amazing. Like so, all your family is like smart people, and you're
Yeah.
Yeah, some people. I don't need to get into another rant, but some people are like, oh yeah, anyone can be a computer programmer. No, it's not true, man.
No.
You either got that left brain or you don't. Like you get the ones and zeros or you don't. And
Right.
so I have a problem with non-tech people who think they could start a tech company, or people who think they could hire in a programmer who's like not a good programmer. But
yeah, I think the reality for most people is that there's more of you that is inherited than we're willing to accept, and I think that we can work on a lot of things, but there's only so far. I think there's a ceiling to a certain extent where you end up spinning your tires either relatively quick or you're able to take it to a further level,
Right.
And I think you gotta face the mirror and actually accept that nasty truth of like we talked about that with the genetically fat video, and I was like, you gotta look yourself in the mirror and say like, hey, like this is going to be a struggle for me. If I want a six-pack, it's going to take a lot and a lot of hard work, like harder than what CJ is ever going to be able to do.
Right.
Am I willing to do that or not? You know what I mean? So like same thing with computer programmer, like, hey, that might be your shit, and you're spinning your tires like trying to like force something, the wrong peg in the hole.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think for like my end of things with the social media, some of the things that obviously I have goals with subscribers and followers. Instagram has been a really big focus recently with me. I realized the value of the stories, and I hadn't really realized that.
I didn't either. Yeah.
And it was funny, like that day, I think y'all were getting ready to go to the Olympia, and I was just like, I'm just gonna like fuck with this, and then I was like, man, this is great, like, and so then they were just doing it at the Olympia, and so anyway, we're gonna do more of that, staying, true to Instagram, keep up with the I think right now the goal is we're gonna be trying to push out 2 videos a day on YouTube. That's the goal anyway, and it's a lot of work, but like I think that we'll be able to get it going. What I really want to see is more fitness content, so I think I'm going to be pressuring Mike on the website side of things, and like maybe even like some products to sell and stuff. But like I am very interested in like the workout programming and like nutritional stuff, and like getting into more of the fitness side of it. Not that it'll ever be like the biggest part of PricePlow, but I think if we have like some e-workouts and some nutritional products and whatever that may be, I think there's something there, and I think our audience would be interested in it. So but yeah,
I think we gotta keep growing the audience before we put out a book or something, but yeah, I'm with you.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, cool. Well, as always, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. It is just PricePlow. And I guess eventually, we've been talking about this, we need to get on Google Play and iTunes. We'll figure that out, I guess.
Yeah.
But the honest truth is that I see other podcasts going in the other direction. Dude, YouTube is going to be our jam for the time being. So YouTube first. If you're on iTunes out there, then cool. But I like the video aspect of things, and I don't know why, but that's just kind of where we are right now. But we'll eventually get this up on other platforms. So we'll figure that out. We need to do our homework, see if there's services we have to pay or whatever. But I'm really excited and nervous for you to hit the stop button on OBS over there. That's the software we're using, and make sure that this all saved and that we have a big ass file at the end.
Yeah, I mean it's only an hour and 20 minutes. Like we lost it.
Oh man,
Moment of truth.
I've been watching the ticker go up.
All right, well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on over, and we're gonna make a few other videos after this, but let's take a little break right now. Hit that stop button. Thanks to everyone for listening, and please subscribe to the channel. We're gonna bring a whole lot more. Like we said, we will not let you down.
All right.
Welcome to PricePlow.